Many people spend years and years trying to think their way out of the anxiety, trauma, or I'll say self sabotage, only to feel stuck in the same loops. So, what if lasting change does not come from the effort alone, but from understanding how the subconscious mind actually works? Great to think about, right? So, hey, dear listeners, welcome back to another powerful episode of Mind Meets Machine, where we explore how our inner healing meets the modern understanding of the mind. And today I'm joined by a lovely guest. Please welcome Carolyn Fisher. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today, Caroline. And before we delve deep into our discussion, I'll quickly love to introduce you with all the listeners. So, dear listeners, Caroline is an RTT hypnotherapist and emotional healer who began her professional journey as a medical doctor. And in this episode, dear listeners, we will explore the inner child work, RTT, which is Rapid Transformational Therapy, and how working with the subconscious can change or can unlock the change where traditional approaches often stall. So I'll not take much of your time. Let's get started. Welcome to the show again. Can like,
So,
yeah, please, you can you share.
okay. So, yeah, where hypnotherapy really comes in, where traditional therapy and medicine stops, right? Because we work with the subconscious here and the conscious, right? We work with the conscious, with the brain in school, at work. So we are really confronted with that a lot, with the awareness of it, with the measuring of it, and with the training of it. But there is really little in our society where we are actually confronted with the measuring, with the training, with the teaching, our subconscious mind. And so people often don't even know what to make of it or what is the subconscious mind. And I mean, I also have my perspective of it, right? I think I want to just say that that's also obviously I have bigger concept internalized in me also, but it's my perspective, the way I describe it. So I want to say that before. So in hypnosis, you go by basically, some people call it higher self. I say it's the nervous system, right? The nervous system below your head, because here your brain, conscious mind, right? Mainly conscious mind. And we're going to go into the nervous system of your body. Our body has so much intelligence also, right? Our heart is doing so many jobs every second of the day. Our kidneys, our liver. So I'm also saying that for you to see that there's so much intelligence in our body. So just imagine how much intelligence there is in our body about knowing about the patterns that you have, about the beliefs that you hold, and the emotional charge that come with those beliefs. And so we are working with that part of your body. We are not knocking out the conscious. You're going to be awake. You're going to be aware, but we are focusing on the subconscious part of your body. And we are basically getting to know that and getting to the root of the issue and then transforming it. In the process of that, we often let the inner child talk because words are very powerful. If we suppress words, they obviously, there's something going on. Words just don't, you know, just don't dissipate or don't just get erased. They stay with us, right? But if we can't express them, then we suppress them, right? We dissociate, we rationalize. And in this work, we basically let the younger selves, inner child, if it goes back in the childhood, speak the things that they have never been able to express. And that changes your entire body, right? It's a very somatic reaction. We are working really in the body. There's bodily change, you feel it. And as you all know, whatever we feel, we can't unfeel. So the change is really, really very, very drastic. I don't like the word really, but the change is really huge and is forever. It's really a transformation. So yeah, once it's in your body, it really is changed. Because as you know, right, with our head, we sometimes can understand something or can have a new thought and that can change us. But then the day afterwards, we can have another thought and we're like, oh, that was not true after all. And now we think differently, and that's great. With our body, it's different. I mean, obviously, it can also change because I just talked about the transformation of it. But once we are at a spot where we really like how we feel, why would we change it, right? You stay in that. And it's a very grounded work also. So you're working with the body. That's very important for me to say. Also, because a lot of people often think hypnosis is like something totally abstract, totally almost outside of us, right? But it's really about work inside of us.
Totally agree with you. And I have to say that a lot of people, um, they hear the word hypnotherapy and either they feel skeptical or maybe they imagine stage hypnosis. So, from your experience, what do you think is the most misunderstood about RTT and the subconscious work?
I think it is often that people, like you said, they are skeptical because they think they don't know what's happening there, right? And where that is. And they either expect something totally abstract that they've never experienced, that they might not even get there, right? They're scared they might not reach that state. Whereas it's really a totally relaxed state. It's a sleep of the nervous system in our body. And so it's a very, like a meditation, right? A deep meditation, but we are working in that state. And we are not, I'm sure some of your listeners have done meditations, with visuals where you go on a beach and you imagine you're there. Here, we are going in your body. We are really examining your body, your emotional charges and where they are, your experiences, right? Your body remembers everything one ever experiences in their lives. And so we really work with the body. So we go that depth into your body. It's really a work on a bodily level that translates also in transforming beliefs and thoughts also as a consequence.
So, what tends to shift for the clients once they actually experience this process instead of just hearing about it?
What usually shifts almost every session, I hear that the client just feels more at ease, like as they have just released a lot of weight from off their shoulders. That I often hear because we really give back things that are not ours. So often we carry patterns or patterns of beliefs that are not ours, right? That make us feel a certain way, that make us believe a certain thing about ourselves and about the world, but they have not been true, right? And they make us feel down or not so good, but they are not true. And the thing is, we are the only person that have control over our own body, right? Nobody else can control our own body. But sometimes we feel like it because our beliefs have been installed from the outside at one point, right? Where somebody said something and we took it in as a belief and we made it a belief for ourselves. So we basically work in hypnosis with the beliefs that we feel like they control us, and we take charge of those beliefs again. And if we want, then because we are in charge, then we take charge, we acknowledge that we can transform them.
So, I mean, I understand like that distinction between that the therapeutic depth and the entertainment. It feels very important to clarify early. And regarding the root cause, you work with a lot of people with the anxiety, trauma, and the addiction. So when you look beneath the symptoms, what deeper patterns do you often see which is driving these struggles?
I very often see, patterns of not feeling good enough, where parents haven't felt good enough, right? They had the best intentions, they loved their kids, but they just said things, not even mean things, right? They might have said things that just translated into the mind of the child as, oh, I'm not good enough, right? A child spills something and the parent is like, oh my God, the beautiful carpet, and oh, you're so clumsy, and oh, how could that happen, right? Instead of, oh, can happen to everyone, right? I mean, of course, if it's a beautiful carpet that the mother or the father have loved, then I understand that is not something positive. But until we are 7 years old, right, we are in the same mode that we are when we are in hypnosis, in the same brainwave. So we really take that on. One person saying that to us can to us translate, oh my God, I'm so clumsy. I'm not gonna ever be an athlete, right? Like, because that would be the further thought, right? Like, if I'm clumsy, I'm that. I can't even carry, I can't even not spill, right? Oh my God, and that translates into how I'm holding myself, right? And if I'm holding myself like that, obviously I'm going through the world in a different way and I'm going to be chosen and approached differently, right? And that will be enhanced. That feeling will basically be enhanced. My little one is just here too. So she
Yeah,
is part of it too.
yeah, totally fine. So, yeah. So I was just saying, like, also, if you can help us understand, like, how does this inner child work? Uh, Help access those rules in a way that talk therapy sometimes cannot.
Yeah. I mean, I think talk therapy is great, right? I would never say anything bad about it. It has its place, but it can't. Not always. It just can't because it's not built that way, right? It's not supposed to access that. It just works in a different way. And so we access that by accessing the nervous system, right? The body, the experience that the body has had all those years and what it's stored. And okay, 1 second. Okay. So, and once you access that, right? Like I said before, when a scene comes up, right? If somebody comes with anxiety and we ask, oh, why do I have so much anxiety, right? Why does that person have so much anxiety? We ask the subconscious, and the subconscious knows all that, right? Our brain might not know because it might not be a smart reason. It might be an embarrassing reason. It might be something that I would never confess that is the reason for it, right? But the body just gives it out freely because it doesn't have this bias of like needing to look good or whatever. So the scene will just pop up. We usually go to 3 scenes, right? And if a scene comes up where I don't know. My mother going again. It could be something very benign, like I'm in the my mother needs to get something from the grocery store. I'm in the back of the car. She just needs to run in and get something really quick. She says, "Oh, you're fine here, right?" And you say yes, but then she stays in 5 minutes, and this is anxiety inducing for you as a child, right? But you say it's okay and then when she comes back and she says, how was it? And you still say it's okay because you want to be a big boy or a big girl, right? So it could really be something benign like that, but you are creating an anxiety, right? And you're having an anxiety internalized that you don't express, right? You don't say because you want to be a big girl. You don't say later, Mom, I really felt so scared when you were gone. Like, please don't do that again, right? You express your needs. So that always is suppressed, right? And this could really be a scene that comes up and somebody comes to me with anxiety. And if that scene comes up, then that person feels back into that scene and connects with that 5-year-old or with that 7-year-old or however old that little child is. And they feel that child in their body again, right? Because we have our younger selves in ourselves, right? I mean, you have your 5-year-old in you still. You have your 10-year-old. And if there's something that has been suppressed or overwhelmed or broken at any age, it'll stick with that child if it hasn't been worked through, if it hasn't been talked through, right? And if it hasn't, then it's going to be suppressed. It's going to be rationalized away or it's going to be dissociated away. And here we are going to those and we are healing it. So we are not getting triggered anymore if this or this gets touched because it's going to be emotionally not with that immense charge anymore because we're going to heal it. We're going to let that younger self say it out loud, everything they have experienced then, right? They might really just have felt too cool to say that, right? So we never look for blame. We just really look for answers. Why is it? And let's just fix it.
Exactly. So, what do you think? I mean, I mean, for someone who is listening who feels anxious or they're stuck, but they cannot pinpoint why. So, how do these subconscious patterns tend to show up in their daily life?
I didn't get that last question. The connection was a little bad on
Okay.
my.
I'm just saying, like, they cannot pinpoint the why factor. So, for them, what will you say? Like, how do these subconscious patterns tend to show up in their daily life?
How can they go about it? Yeah. Because I've understood the last question I didn't understand again, but the first part I understood. So I would always say check out first, like do meditations, do breath work, try other things. If that fixes it, great. Then you're good, right? But if that doesn't fix it and you really don't have it under control, you try meditation, you but then in situations, something is triggered and you can't even breathe anymore and you can't stay calm, then there's usually a deeper issue. And then I would definitely suggest hypnosis because it's just such a powerful way, a fast way also, right? RTT hypnotherapy, the R stands for rapid, and it's really rapid. And I think that's another misconception, right? Because people usually think, oh, but can it be good if it's rapid, right? Can it go deep? And it can. Just because it's fast doesn't mean it can't go deep. And so, but yeah, it can really, then you go to the root and you transform it. So I would really, if you don't know the reason and if you feel you need the reason to transform it, right, and it doesn't go away with conscious work, then I definitely think hypnotherapy is the way to go.
So, like, are there signs that indicate the inner child is still carrying some unmet needs or unresolved fear?
I heard that again now, part of it. So if the inner child is still having some unmet needs or some unsaid words, yeah, that's the basically the basis of it. Yeah. I mean, that's where we usually go to. That's what usually comes up, right? I'm not guiding there. We really just say, okay, what is the reason? And the subconscious comes up with the reason for that specific person. So it's always different, right? It could be the same issue for two people and it's totally different scenes.
Yes, obviously, that lens makes everyday reactions feels more kind of understandable and not the shameful. So, definitely. And for the people who are new to this work, what does RTP usually look like in practice? So, if you can share.
In practice, it's a 3-hour session. And before the session, I'll send an intake with 15 questions. So you're going to fill that out and send it back to me and I prepare with that. And that intake, the 15 questions, I mean, I'm not going to name all of the 15 now, but there are questions like, how would your life look like tomorrow if you didn't have the area of concern today, right? The example that you brought up, anxiety. What would your life look like tomorrow if you didn't have anxiety tomorrow anymore, right? I would be grounded, feel so present. I would sit down for breakfast, for example, right? I would just look out the window and see the weather and would feel just, grounded and happy in myself. I would feel free. I would feel present. I would feel calm and I would just, look in the mirror, feel good about myself, pack my lunch, then leave the house. I enjoy work, or be just able to enjoy, don't need to prove myself, right? Because I can just enjoy what I do rather than have to come from this, oh my God, I need to be perfect or I need to prove myself. Otherwise I'm not loved, right? On that deeper level, that feeling on a deeper level that we often not aware and so on, right? So yeah, and so that is one of the questions. So I get that intake, the filled out intake, I prepare with that. And I also send a recording that's about 8 minutes long that gets you into the meditative state, into that hypnotic, relaxed feeling. So you can try it out at home and see how that feels because that's going to be in the session too. And then in the session, the 3 hours are the first half hour. We talk about the issue, where you are on that day. And then we are finding 1 or 2 questions to ask the subconscious. Then we go into the subconscious. Then we ask the subconscious those 2 questions or that 1 question. And the subconscious usually comes up with scenes. And some people see, feel, hear it. Some even smell it. Some people only feel it. So either is good. Whatever comes up, we work with that. And then we work with those scenes. We transform it. We heal. I have other tools also other than the scenes, if I see that's needed. And then the last 15 to 20 minutes, it's my voice recording. So the last 15 minutes, I'm recording my own voice, recording the affirmations that the client filled out in the intake to the question, how would your life look like tomorrow without the issue? So then the affirmations, because then we are basically I don't know what that sound is. I was not sure if it was coming from me or from you. So I tried to, I just closed my WhatsApp on my computer. I hope it was that. So then the affirmations can now take seed, right? Because if we change, if we transform, if we heal, then we are basically creating a new earth for the seeds to be planted in. And in that new earth, these new seeds can now be planted in it. They can grow in that now.
Understood.
And then the recording that I'm doing in the last 15 to 20 minutes, that is the recording that I'm sending the clients after the session. And they have to listen to it for 21 consecutive days, at least once a day after the session. So that's part of the therapy, part of
Understood.
the work.
So, for the listeners who sense their younger self is still influencing their reactions today, then what's the one gentle question they can sit with this week?
Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't hear you loud enough with that. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, I'm saying like for the listeners who sense their younger self is still influencing their reactions today, then what will be the one question they can sit with this week?
That's such a good question. Thank you. I think the first question I would ask is, what do you need? Ask it over and over. And the first day, it might not show up yet, the inner child or that acknowledgement or that feeling that you're really feeling it, right? Second day, you might feel something going on, right? First day, it might still be a very abstract concept. And then, once you ask that question, what do you need? Things will pop up.
Great. So, Caroline, like for the listeners who want to learn more about RTT, where they can find you.
They can find me on my website. That's whyhypnotherapy.com. That's WHY hypnotherapy.com.
Lovely. So, dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put all the links and the details into the show notes for your easy reference. And thank you so much for joining on Mind Meets Machine today. And if the conversation sparked,
Thank you so much for the conversation. And also thank you for your understanding of my background noises. I don't know where they came from. So
yeah,
thank you so much for understanding that and accepting that.
so definitely. And dear listeners, if today's conversation sparked curiosity, please remember that the real courage often begins beneath the conscious effort. So, with this hope, until next time, stay open, stay curious, and take care. Thank you so much.